everyone. I am Matthew Thomas, back with another great episode of Super Cool Radio. My guest this time recently released two great singles that are You and I, an unplugged version of Tongue Tied. Please welcome Wil Martin from Earshot.
Thanks for having me on.
Really look forward to chatting with you. I think it's going to be a really great time.
Right on. Let's do it.
And so you are the vocalist and guitarist for Earshot. And before I really jump into this interview, I got a fun question I have not asked in a while during an episode. So I'm going to ask you, what music have you been listening to this week outside of your band's own music?
Well, I just the other day listened to Kanye West's new album just because I had to. Everyone's talking about it. Been listening to the new Bad Wolves album, which is pretty good. I'm not a huge Bad Wolves fan, but the new record sounds really good, and I also do like the stuff with Tommy Vex too. So, but it sounds good. And what else have I been listening to? I was listening to a live Peter Simon. Simon and Garfunkel record. Paul Simon is what I meant to say, but a live Paul Simon album, which they did a lot of Simon and Garfunkel stuff. So that just goes to show you a little bit of the range of music that I listen to on a daily basis. But I feel like I listen to enough Earshot when we make these songs that, you know, that doesn't even count. Really, even though it probably makes up 50% of my listening. Yeah,
I could definitely understand and see that. But it's funny you mentioned Bad Wolves. Actually, I just saw them live over the weekend with Hollywood Undead and Papa Roach, and I wasn't I know some of their songs if they come onto the radio or something, but they actually delivered. It was actually a really good show. They sounded really good. I was very impressed with them.
Nice. Yeah, I've never seen them live, but I'm sure it's probably pretty good. At least I hope it is.
Yeah, they definitely were. But you had a very wide range of music, which I think it's important with all the music that's out there, plus the internet and everything. You can find a whole bunch of music that you might even think you might like and you actually enjoy.
Yeah, and I even I listen to classical and jazz too, just to mix it up even more. So there you go.
So the name Earshot, how did that come about? It's a very interesting name.
So when we were about to do our very first show, we didn't have a band name yet. We went ahead and we started telling promoters here in Los Angeles that we were ready to do shows. So this club had booked us, and about 2 or 3 weeks before the show, he had sent us a message asking us what the name of the band was. And so we quickly, all jumped on the phone and were discussing different band names. And I was actually writing at that time, in that moment, I was actually in the process of writing lyrics for Headstrong. And so I was trying to find a word for another word that I wanted to use, but it didn't quite fit. So I grabbed a thesaurus and I had it there. So I grabbed it and I just started thumbing through it just to kind of see if I could find some inspiration, for a band name. And I looked up sound because I wanted it to have something to do with sound. And so I looked up sound, and Earshot was one of the first things, if not the first thing at the top of that list.
It's just cool how, looking up other words can lead to new terms and different ideas and all that stuff, inspiration, as you said. So it's always really cool just how those things really just come about very simply.
Yeah.
For sure. But it does lead me. So the two new singles that were released that were You and I and an unplugged version of Tongue Tied. So I want to discuss both of them. So the new song is You and I. How was it writing and recording that?
So You and I was a song that Andy wrote, or at least, gave to me to listen to back right before the pandemic, I believe, started. And our process, or at least my process, is, the guys will submit a song And if I'm inspired by it, then I'll go into my studio and I'll record just a verse and a chorus. I don't want to get too deep into it. And I just want to see if it's a song that I feel like is worth continuing to, to chase after. And so I had done a verse and a chorus, and it came about pretty easily, actually. And then the pandemic hit, and then we kind of backburnered it because we were planning on, before the pandemic happened, we were planning on all meeting up to record a bunch of songs in a studio together. And then, of course, all that changed. So it just kind of got backburned. Instead of working on that and some other songs that we have coming out, we decided to do a cover song. And we, as you may or may not know, we did a cover of Uninvited by Alanis Morissette, which was the first song that we'd put out during the pandemic times. And then we put out another one about a year later called Been a Long Time. And then when it came to the next song, I just remember thinking, like, we have to get that song out. It's too important of a song. It's a great song. And we finished it up, got it mixed, and it came out great. And then I think we finished it in like June or July of last year. And I didn't know when we should put it out. I knew that, there was all these false starts with, the lockdowns ending, and then they weren't ending, and then they were, and then, so I think my first instinct was to just hang on to it for a minute. And then around Christmas time is when I was asked, what are we going to do with this song? Are we going to put it out, or and so after I thought about it in January, I thought Valentine's Day would be a perfect day for the release of You and I, because it's a love song for all intents and purposes. And so that's when we decided that's when we would finally put it out. But then I realized that not everybody's going to appreciate Valentine's Day as much as other people, if at all. And so that's what, prompted the idea of doing an unplugged version of Tongue Tied, because it's really the antithesis of what You and I is about. And so we quickly threw together an unplugged version of Tongue Tied, which I really felt, came out really nicely. It, as Aaron put it, it kind of has that, Guns N' Roses, Lies feeling, that acoustic-y, MTV Unplugged type of thing. So it just all came together really nicely, really organically on top of that. And we're really proud of both songs. And we're, even prouder that it's, getting some really good traction out there. It's still early. It's only been out a few weeks now. And fans, seem to really like it, but we love it. And, I'm always proud of every time we put out a song, because we're all doing it remotely right now. And that's not something that we were really planning on doing, but we had to quickly kind of adapt to figure it out. And so I'm just proud, of the work that we do as a team, as a collective unit, to be able to make such really amazing sounding songs when we're not even in the same room together. It just blows my mind sometimes to think about.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. And was that shift of, going from recording in studio, seeing each other, to doing many things remotely, was that a little bit difficult first? Because I know you, as you said, a very collective unit with you guys. So was that a little bit of a different change?
It was. Luckily we all have our own recording studios in our homes. I think with the exception of myself, nobody really had much experience with, recording in this way. I mean, sure, we use them, to write and record demos and stuff like that. But to collaborate, is a whole different thing. I mean, it's easy to, get a song and say, here, just record this part. And what you're supposed to do, and everybody knows what you're going to do. Then what you're supposed to do. But when you're in a situation where you're collaborating and you're creating things and you're really just using your best judgment and knowledge of what you know the other person is going to do and what they're going to like and what they're not going to like, and then innately be able to do that, that's pretty amazing. And it's not like we've all played together collectively for a number of years or anything. So that makes it even more mind-blowing that, you know, that a group of guys can just, who haven't spent, you know, 10 years, you know, or whatever, doing it, can be that in sync and in tune with each other to be able to do and put together such amazing material.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. And I know there's a lot of patience, cooperation, and it is very different because it's sometimes harder to convey like digitally what someone is, you know, what their expectations are for whatever part. So sometimes it is up to interpretation of, I think this is what he's going for or what is needed. So sometimes it's hard to even like work out those details instead of someone just standing there, you know, in the studio, like, okay, we're going to try it like this or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's tough. It's tough enough even when you're in the same room, you know, let alone all in different places. But I think we're a better band for it though now, to be honest with you. And, you know, I feel like there's really nothing, you know, there's not a distance isn't an issue for us now at this point. And because we all live in different places. Aaron and John live in Pennsylvania, and Mikey and Andy live in Florida, and I'm here in Los Angeles. So it just kind of takes that pressure off too of, you know, it's nice to get together, but we don't have to get together.
You work very well with, you know, obviously the whole world just being shifted almost on a dime. You guys are still working together and figuring out like great ways to cooperate and make some really great music.
Thank you.
But I did want to talk about, so you did touch on the unplugged version of Tongue Tied, which is a little bit, it's in your guys' catalog. How'd you choose like that one to make the unplugged version?
So when I first met Andy a long time ago, he had recorded an acoustic version of that song using his phone. It was a live recording they did of it, and I put a scratch vocal on it, and it sounded pretty good. And I think we used it for like some kind of promotion thing when I was doing my solo acoustic project. And I just remembered like how cool that sounded. And so when the idea came to me to bundle that with the You and I track, everyone got excited about it. And again, it just came together really easily. Like literally, I think we started recording it 2 weeks before these songs came out. I mean, it came together that fast. But yeah, it was off of our second album too. And it's also one of my favorite songs off that record. So there's that.
Yeah, there you go. What I really liked about it is that it really, as you said, it really reminds me of like the MTV Unplugged when they used to do those specials, which I always really enjoyed every time. It really has that vibe to it, that intimate vibe to it. It's a perfect combination with You and I, because I was just, it's kind of funny, like, you know, You and I is, you know, a newer song, and Tongue Tied, obviously redone with the unplugged version. It just goes together so well, even though they're, you know, obviously like years apart from when they were written and recorded. Yeah,
you know, it does. And, you know, I think that's what good songs should do, right? Like they should stand sort of a test of time, so to speak.
Both singles out right now, so if anyone's interested, I'll have some links in the description for people to check it out. But definitely, because You and I really like, because so what did Andy bring when you first started with the song? Was it just a guitar riff, or was there other things? What did he bring to you?
For You and I?
Yes.
He sent me a live recording from Mikey's studio. So it had live drums, and then it had guitar, and it had a, you know, really just a simple bass line to it. Not at all what it is now. And it just, I remember the, like, just sending a charge through my body, just the guitar, the riff, and then the really like lush, Aaron calls it the Def Leppard sounding clean guitars in the verses, which was funny because as soon as he said that, that's when I was like, that's exactly what it reminds me of. But it's cool. And I like things that are interesting, that have different layers and textures to it. And I like things that get quiet and loud and, sort of take you on a ride. So it just had all of those elements to it when he had sent that over. And it just the melody and the lyrics just pretty much hit me pretty instantly.
Yeah, I really like, especially how it really starts, that guitar riff. It sounds very interesting, new, different.
Yeah, just the real sparkly, shimmering, clean guitars,
Definitely.
Delays and stuff, yeah.
But overall, both songs are really awesome, especially you listen to one, then you listen to the next one. It just flows so well. Like, it carries that energy from You and I to the unplugged version. Like, when you listen to both, it's just a perfect match and a perfect pairing.
Yeah, I mean, when I listen to both songs back to back, Tongue Tied sort of helps wind you down, off of the intensity of You and I. So I think in that way it worked out really nice.
It definitely did. And I'm going to leave links in the description for both those songs.
Like coming down off of a high, or, from being really drunk and you're sobering up, some cold water in your face.
It's a great like wind down song from You and I, which has a great energy and feel to it, and then it's kind of just slowly fading out a little bit with the unplugged. Again, it's a great combination. I do recommend you have to listen to both. Everyone out there, listen to both. Start with You and I, go to the unplugged, the Tongue Tied, and it's just awesome.
Right on. Thank you.
And as I'm in the later half of this interview, so Earshot was formed in 1999, and it's been going, obviously strong, gone for a lot. But what is some of your advice for like up and coming musicians?
Well, the best advice that I give people, which seems like it would be the most obvious, is to write songs that you love. And not worry about whether anyone else is going to like them, at least initially. That's what we did when we started. We were just writing songs. We all had different influences, and we were just writing songs that we loved, and we didn't know if anybody else was going to like them. We didn't know we were going to get a record deal. We didn't even know you could make money, being in music, because none of us had. And so that was really the sole intention that we had, was writing songs that we loved. And so that would be probably the best advice that I could give an upcoming band, in addition to, taking some time to really learning the business and how the business works. Because oftentimes I talk with bands that don't understand the business. And so it's really easy to get lost or get taken advantage of, or to really annoy and irritate, people in the business that could end up costing you, politically, in the business. Music business is a tough business. It's, I was joking with someone not too long ago that if you could survive in the music business, with all the politics that happen within the business, you could probably run for public office in politics, because it's very similar. It's very cutthroat. It's very, if you upset this person, then you're going to upset these other people over here. And then it's a really long and slippery slope. So you should definitely get to learn the business, and maybe pick up the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. help you out with the business part of it.
You're actually the second person to mention that book on my podcast. I haven't read it yet, so I think I definitely have to check it out now. But yeah, definitely learning the industry is very important. Even like for stuff that I'm doing, I'm not like directly involved in the music industry. You know, I'm an interviewer, podcaster, and like I still you still deal with the politics and all that stuff. But yeah, if you can make it in the music industry, you can run for president.
I think so, or at least a mayor or some shit. But truth be told, I haven't read the book myself. I've read like a few pages here and there, but I know the book. I'm familiar with the book, and I know the premise of it. Obviously,
it's a book out there if anyone wants it. Obviously, you probably pick it up at the local library, I assume, or
Amazon, or Apple Books, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, or I mean, it's probably an Audible book too at some point.
Yeah.
But so I got an interesting question to go along with the previous one. So, what is your favorite moment or memory of Earshot that will stick with you forever?
Well, I think I actually have a picture of that moment on my personal social media page, and it's a picture that a good friend of mine took, Greg Waterman, and it was in 2002, I believe, and it was in Atlanta, Georgia, at a festival that I'm pretty sure still exists called the Midtown Music Festival. And it's one of the biggest music festivals I think it's in the summertime. And there were, I think on this particular day, because we had been out with Kid Rock for a little over 2 months, and he was the headliner on this day. And because we were touring with him, we were direct support to Kid Rock. So by the time we hit the stage, and and Getaway was just really, starting to really, it was in the top 5, I think, at that point, nationally at radio. And so there were 64,000 people. And so there's this picture of me, and it's from like kind of behind on the side, and you see me, and you see this sea of people, and I look like about this big out there. And and so I'll never forget that moment. And it's funny because when I look at that picture, I remember exactly almost like what was going through my head, which was, holy shit, like there's a lot of fucking people, singing Getaway back at us. You know what I mean? I mean, it was absolutely incredible. So that's something that I'll never forget.
Unless you were there, I think it's almost hard to imagine like the energy and like the crowd participation to just have that whole moment and everything. It's probably like, unless you're there, you can remember like feeling it and being a part of it. But it's probably hard to imagine all those people singing back the lyrics to a song. Yeah.
And it was at that moment that I remember going, fuck, we actually wrote something that is, no pun intended, has really struck a chord, with people. And that's what music's about. And that's the whole reason why I got into music, was to be able to create things that people could relate to and connect with, and, hopefully help make life a little bit easier to deal with, day in and day out.
Yeah, definitely. It's that connection that people feel just with the music, not only like the music as in like a CD or vinyl or listening online, but it's also like seeing it live. Yeah. So like you heard it the studio, and then you see it live, and you just feel a stronger connection. You actually connect with the people who made the music. It's an incredible feeling and incredible moments as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as I'm wrapping up this interview, so what are the plans for Earshot for the rest of 2022? What else do you have? Any more music in the works? What's going on?
So we're actually working on another song now, which should be out in about a month from now. Goal moving forward with that is we're not going to be putting out any full-length albums. So no albums with 10, 12, 14 songs on it. I think that's, at least in our view, it's becoming kind of a dying dinosaur, thing. And I just don't think that's how people listen to music anymore. So we're going to start doing singles, or like we did with You and I, maybe we'll release 2, maybe even 3, or maybe we might even get crazy and do an EP like 5 songs or so, but definitely, at least for now, the days of, full-length albums are just done. And what we really like about doing it this new way with putting out singles every month or two is it keeps us on our toes, right? Because we're creating more in real time, versus, back when we used to put out full-length albums when we were on a label, we'd spend 3 to 6 months writing a song. Then it would take, another couple of months to get a budget approved and pick a producer to make the record. Then it's another 3 months or more to record the record. Then it's another month before you decide on who's going to mix it and who's going to master it. And then that takes a couple of weeks. And then you turn the record in. And then you got to start putting together the artwork and the liner notes and the lyrics, right? And then you got to go through that whole approval process. And maybe that's on a good day if everybody likes what you did, and somebody at the label may go, well, we don't think this artwork, maybe we should tweak this. And then and it goes back and forth. So all told, literally, it could be 2 years from the time that we write a song to the time it comes out. So in this way, because we're independent, we're putting it out on our own, we don't have those constraints. All we have to worry about is arguing amongst ourselves about things, which we're usually pretty much on the same page. So it goes pretty easy for the most part. But it keeps things fresh. It keeps the music more real time. And when people listen to it, they can know that that's where we're at creatively, artistically, and personally right now, not 2 years ago, when we wrote it. So that's what's kind of cool to me and what we like about doing it that way. So we're going to make a concerted effort to do just that. And as far as touring, we've just started talking to some promoters about, doing some shows here and there. In fact, my next call after this is with a potential booking agent that has some ideas for later this year and into next year, but nothing on the books yet in terms of, shows. But that may change pretty quick.
Well, I do hope everything works out. It sounds like you got some great stuff in the works, and what you really nailed, like the whole process of writing an album to completion. And that's like if there's like no delays or anything comes up, it is like 2 years, unfortunately. So with the way it is, and obviously being independent means you don't have to submit to we had to go for this person, do this and this. It's just hey, we wrote this song, we want to put it out, kind of thing. And I really respect that. I think it's really awesome. And I think you connect with fans like even more. Like here's a song, and then like 2 months later, here's another song, and it is more in real time. And I think it makes people, I think, really enjoy like listening to, here's another new song by them, instead of, oh, cool, it's been 3 years, I have, and here's a new album. So I think people really like that more like instant, here's a song every couple months.
Yeah. And, we don't do crowdfunding and crowdsourcing. Like we do and pay for everything we put our money where our mouth is. And, we are set up to where the music that we put out is responsible for paying for the next one. Right. So it's, it definitely makes the game a little more interesting for sure. But so far, fortunately, knock on wood, it's all been working out. And as long as we keep, putting out good music that people want to listen to, and that's the whole key, we'll be doing it this way for a real long time. And if we don't, then we won't. So it'll be pretty telltale.
Definitely look forward to seeing what else you guys have in store for this year and into next year as well. But if anyone's interested, where's the best places to find Earshot online?
So we do have an official website, although we haven't been very good at keeping it up to date with all the other stuff that we, the other hats that we wear. But our official website address is earshotband.com. And then where we are most active is on our socials. So Facebook, Instagram primarily. And it's real easy. They're all the same. So it's facebook.com/earshotband, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, anything, all /earshotband. So it's all pretty streamlined. We at least were smart enough to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to drop those links in the description, so make sure to check that out. But Wil, it's been a really great time chatting with you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me here on Super Cool Radio.
Hey, Matthew, thank you. Pleasure. And, thanks for having me on. I know that there's a million other bands that you could have had on your show, and you thought of us. So thank you.
Hey, of course, dude. But keep on rocking. Please check out Stream Support. Give a like to Earshot. Check out the links in the description. I'm your host, as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio, and stay frosty.